NBC's Liz Kurtz joins me from Pacific Palisades. Also with me is NBC News meteorologist Bill Cairns. Liz, you and your fellow correspondents out there have just done such incredible work covering this devastation. For those of us that aren't there, are watching these pictures on TV, describe for us what the scene is like right now in Pacific Palisades.
Hey, Ryan. Well, thank you. I mean, there's a little bit of good news right now, if you can say that, which is just that the winds have died down today. And so that means it's going to be critical today, the next few hours, for firefighters to continue to try to get a hold of these fires before this new wind event comes through. This is, as you mentioned, a PDS red flag warning, a very rare warning that we get for these extraordinarily strong winds. It's the same warning we got a week ago when this fire was ignited. Tomorrow will mark 1 week since this fire here ignited. And I'm at a home, one of the thousands of homes destroyed from these fires, and right on Sunset Boulevard. If I just go, half a mile down from here, you can see the beautiful, pristine Pacific coast. And this is where I myself was on Tuesday a week ago, trying to get into this fire where there was gridlock traffic. And just about a mile from here is where you'll see charred out cars, of those cars that were abandoned by folks trying to get out. So there's still a lot of remnants of that day, but right now it's actually eerily quiet here. They have really locked it down to make sure nobody can get in and out. The National Guard has multiple roadblocks along with LAPD and firefighters, and that is because of this concern and issue with looters. They've arrested more than 40 people in this area who were not supposed to be in the evacuation area here, Ryan. And
you mentioned those strong winds. What are officials doing to prepare for the next 2 days as this appears to be incoming?
Yeah, well, officials are saying that they are better prepared this time than a week ago. That's what they're saying. They say that they have pre-positioned firefighters to some of the areas that seem to be like they could be the worst, strongest wind areas, particularly up in Ventura County. They're also going to have extra patrols in some of these areas where the fire is already burning. And they're also just really putting the word out there, and people in the public are really paying attention since we saw the damage a week ago. People who are in these regions where we're going to see these high winds are being told to be prepared, pack a bag, pack your car. Just know that this is a real situation. Another fire could ignite, and you might need to get out at a moment's notice.
And Los Angeles County's declared a public health emergency due to concerns about air quality. Talk to us about what this emergency entails.
Yeah, I mean, that's impacting millions of people across Southern California right now. I know people who live in LA, they're not in some of the fire areas, and they've gotten out of town simply because of the smoke and the air quality. We know that air quality and the smoke is very dangerous for people. And so people are being told to stay inside if you can, particularly people with underlying health conditions. Just limit how much time you're spending outside right now. And then, of course, we're seeing people everywhere wearing their N95 masks, which are critical right now, Ryan.
Okay. Liz, you and your team, please stay safe. Thank you for the excellent reporting under very difficult conditions. I want to bring in Bill Cairns now, our meteorologist, to talk about what the forecast looks like. You heard Liz outline it, Bill, but talk to us. Just how concerning are these new strong winds?
Let's put it this way, Ryan. We've had 4 of these, what we call particularly dangerous situations in the last 2-3 months in Southern California. And every time, the other 3 times, we had structures burned. Of course, we had last week, but even in November, December, we had similar situations and we had structures burned. So that's the concern. That's why the National Weather Service is putting out those dire warnings. And the areas of greatest concern are in these hash lines. So downtown LA is not in this. This is a different event than last week. Last week, the winds were out of the north. They were coming down off the mountains and going right through downtown LA, 80 to 100 miles per hour. That's extremely rare. This is what we call a typical Santa Ana wind event. The winds right now are mostly going from the east to the west in this general direction, and those are the areas of concern as that air comes down those mountains. And even right now in out west, we've already got wind gusts of 44. So Ryan, it's important. If you saw where Liz was located, winds are only like 3 miles per hour, but you only travel about an hour north up in the mountains. We're already getting gusts from 40 to 50 miles per hour. So this is not a huge issue, this wind event, where we have the current fires. It's more if new fires form.
And how long are they expected to last? Is there any relief in sight?
Yeah, so let's give you the timeline on this. So this is right now. So let's fast forward. We're going through the night. When you start to see the pink, that's when we get up to 60 miles per hour. So by 5 a.m. tomorrow morning, we have numerous mountain ranges here in the 50 to about 70 mile per hour range. That's the concern. When you get that high, they're not going to be able to fight. So if a new fire forms in this region with these high winds, 50 to 70 miles per hour, the helicopters, the super scoopers, the fixed-wing aircraft, the fire retardant, they can't even drop accurately with winds this gusty. And sometimes because of mountain waves and the air turbulence, they can't even fly in us. So they may be grounded. So, Ryan, that's the concern. We do think the winds will die off a little bit Tuesday afternoon, but here's 6 p.m. tomorrow, a little bit lower, but then they're going to pop back up Wednesday morning. And it looks like by about Wednesday afternoon to Wednesday night, Ryan, then they finally die off. We get an onshore flow, which is kind of more humidity and cooler. That's going to last from Thursday through the weekend. So we just have to get through the next 48 hours.
And then, obviously, rain would be a huge help. Is there any rain in the forecast at all?
Yeah, rain would be like the biggest, blessing ever. Hasn't rained in about 8 months, and let's go take a look at the forecast. So here's actually the rainfall, significant rainfall since October 1st. In L.A., they've gotten 0.16. I mean, that's like, you turn your faucet on for a tenth of a second. That's 3% of normal. And here's the rainfall forecast over the next 7 days for Southern California. Absolutely nothing. And even going out towards, what we call the 6 to 10 day outlook, temperatures aren't that warm, but we're still going to be drier than average for the entire West. So, Ryan, this should easily go through the end of January. Anytime it's super windy, we're going to have this really dangerous conditions.
Okay, Bill Cairns, thank you for outlining all of that for us. Let's now go to Chris Harvey, who's a spokesperson for CAL FIRE, part of the team on the front lines of what is happening there. Talk to us, Chris, about the next 48 hours in terms of your efforts to contain these fires. How difficult do you expect that it's going to get?
Sure. So as some of your correspondents have already pointed out, this PDS red flag warning is unfortunately, these are incidents where we do have ignitions. Those were the conditions, obviously, last week when this fire that I'm on, the Palisades fire, started. So everybody is really, really paying attention to the weather. I will say this. I've been up in the neighborhoods that have been affected. I was up Mandeville Canyon and over in Brentwood. We do have a lot of crews that are already pre-positioned. There's a lot of fire apparatus on the ground. There are a lot of hand crews on the ground. I do know, I saw a lot of engines yesterday and last night. They were already hooked to hydrants. They have charged hose lines on the ground ready to go. I also know that LA Power and Water was up in that area yesterday. They put some additional supplemental diesel-powered pumps they're being kind of plugged into the system to boost water pressure, or to also, in emergencies, in case a pump goes down, they'll have a portable pump ready to go. So I do know that crews are ready and willing to, to attack this fire when it comes. And then just briefly about the aerial assets, as was mentioned, we have a lot of aerial assets on this fire. We just hope the winds are going to be low enough that those aerial assets can fly and drop water and retardant in case they're needed.
And maybe expand on that a little bit. Is there a scenario where you'd have to suspend those aerial operations if the winds get to be too strong?
Unfortunately, yes. We've already seen that here on the Palisades fire. We have had wind gusts and wind strength that were so strong that it did ground the aerial operations. And obviously in that situation, it's just up to the boots on the ground, the fire engines and the fire.
So I'm sure you're going to tell me you're concerned about both, but right now, are you more concerned about the spread of the fires that are currently burning, or are you worried about new fires that could be sparked by the new strong winds?
Well, again, as was pointed out earlier, we got a little bit of a break the last 24 to 36 hours. We were able to get lower wind speeds. Unfortunately, the relative humidity, low humidities, but lower wind speeds allowed those crews both on the ground and in the air to really get a real knockdown on the major fire. In the last 36 hours, you can see over the fire now, there's no really large column of smoke. It's really the crews are going and just trying to put out hot spots and smokers. And that's the concern, that the winds could grow and pick up some of those embers and spread fire. Mm-hmm. If that happens, that's obviously going to be very problematic.
So there's been a lot of talk about this large reservoir in the Pacific Palisades that was out of commission when the fire broke out last week. Would that reservoir have helped prevent this fire from becoming as devastating as it's been?
Well, I'm not in a position to speculate about that. That's definitely a question that would be better answered by LA Water and Power. I think it would be, I don't know how much time we have, but I'd just like to take a minute to talk about drone flights. I think the drone flights by private drone flyers on this incident that have caused firefighting aircraft to either have to be diverted or grounded is a significant story that's ongoing. That's something that we're really concerned about in the next couple of days. We really want to make sure the public understands that if you fly, we can't. I'm sure you're aware we had a very significant incident where one of the super scooper fixed wing aircraft hit a drone and had damage to the wing. That aircraft is now out of commission, and obviously that could have been much more catastrophic had there been more damage to the plane and it had crashed or something like that. So we really just want to make sure that people are not flying drones. That's a very much an area of concern for us now.
And is it something that is an ongoing problem, or do you think folks there have gotten the message, or do you still see a lot of drones up there that are not supposed to be?
I will say this, on the Palisades fire, the number I got last night was 48 drone incursions at this point, just on this incident alone. I wouldn't be surprised if that number has climbed since then. And, we are all aware of how available they are now. You can order a drone online and be flying it, the next day. And so I understand people's curiosities. I understand people want to play with their devices and get a good look at the fire. I can't overemphasize how important it is to get the message out that you cannot fly drones over these incidents.
And my last question for you, Chris, just talk to me about the morale of your firefighters. I just can't imagine how difficult this process has to be for them. I know that they get into this because of the service aspect of it, but how is the mental state of these guys that are on the front line trying to prevent this from becoming an even bigger tragedy?
Well, I don't want to sound too trite, but obviously when you get into this job, you understand the risks that you face, and when you're going to a large incident like this, that you're going to be worked very hard and you're going to get very little sleep. I would expand what you're talking about to include law enforcement, the water and power, the people that are staffing the evacuation centers, and the evacuees themselves. I mean, everybody's worn out at this point after a week of little sleep and a lot of worry. And so I'm hoping that everyone that is currently affected by the situation and working here is, they're doing their very best.
Well, the rest of us are praying for you and the folks that are dealing with this. We can't imagine the scale of this devastation. Chris Harvey, thank you so much for your time. Please stay safe.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.